also the go-givers of the go-givers of the go-givers. So I am so elated to present my mentor, Pace Morby.
Yo, what up, guys? Amazing. This is the size of room. What's up, Chris? How you doing, bro? Oh my gosh, what's up, Jenny? Last time I saw her, by the way, she was on a lake with me, and she sucked a bunch of rocks up into the engine of a jet ski. I just had to write a check for like 11 grand to fix it. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Okay, so today, guys, I've got 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to be hanging out with you a lot today. I'll be on some panels. But today we're going to talk about avocados. You guys cool with that? Avocados. What percent of those people let those avocados go bad? 75%. Okay? Raise your hand if you've been one of them. Don't lie. I can guarantee it's been an apple, a banana. What have you let rot? Banana. Okay, cool. All right. You've never let anything rot that you've purchased? Okay, perfect. So 75%. 75% of people buy the thing, they're excited about the thing, they put it on the counter, they're like, I'm waiting for the perfect moment for this avocado. Can I just say avocate today for the rest of the day? Okay. Some of the white people don't have a clue what avocate is. So. I married a Latina, so I know some things. Okay, so 75% of people go to the store, they're all excited, they spend the money, they take it all the way home, they put all the time, energy, and effort into this avocado, and they go put it on their counter and they're waiting for the perfect moment, because there's like that perfect moment. It's too hard, then it's too soft, and now I can't do anything with it. I forgot about the dang thing, right? Okay, cool. Now, let's talk about the other 25%. 20% of those people will use this. By the way, this is like industry statistics. I did not make this up. I've had to research this because there's so many tie-ins to regular life to this. Okay, so 20% of the remaining 25%, they consume it. They use it for their own personal uses, right? 4% of the remaining 25%, they use it for commercial uses. Meaning they take that aguacate and they go to people that are coming through their line and they say, guac is extra, are you okay with that? And they take that aguacate, that avocado, and they actually make money from that avocado. Make sense? Then there's the 1% of the 1%. What do? They take the aguacate, they might sell it, they might make some money, but what they do is they take the seed and they go build an entire freaking orchard of avocado trees. And so what I thought about with Kat and Lee this morning is I was just thinking about how some people will just take life very leisurely. And other people will be that 1% that put a big room like this together and do it for 16 years, hard work to build something so impressive. I mean, has anybody ever put an event together? You know how hard this is? This is incredibly difficult. This is 16 years of losing money, being told no 1,000 times, for them to get all of us in this room. Think about this. They heard no 1,000 times so that you guys could hear my story about avocados. But truly, they're that 1%. So let's talk about this with real estate. Let's talk about this with business. There's those people that say, I'm going to take action. I'm going to do the thing. And then what do? They spend the money on maybe a mentorship. They spend the money on a ticket to come here. And what do? They take notes, right? They take those notes home and they put them on their counter. And they say, when's the perfect time to take action on those things? So that's 75% of a room like this, just so you know. 75% of a room just like this will take notes, remember things, and then within a week, we've all done this. I'm one of those people too. Right? I'll go to an event. I'll even pay to go to the event. I'll fly there, stay in the hotel. I'll take time and energy away from other opportunities just so I can take notes and learn from other people. I take those notes, I put them on my counter, and they go rotten. They go rotten because I didn't do anything about it. I didn't take action. Then there's the 20% of people in here. And what they're going to do is they're going to connect with other people. They're going to do like the baseline thing that they came here for. Right? They might do a couple of things. They're going to connect with people in this room. They're going to become friends. In fact, there were people already in here. A lot of my friends are already in here. Stacy, good to see you. Gosh dang it, you're amazing. Where's your daughter? Oh, there she is. I just assumed you guys would sit next to each other. Are you like angry with each other? Or are you choosing to network? You're branching out. Okay. Right, then there's people like you that go, I'm here to build an empire. And I'm going to take this as an opportunity and a seed to go and build something bigger, right? So I see this all the time. And this morning, what made me think about this is I made a YouTube video yesterday about Kamala Harris, not because I have an opinion one way or the other, but I just talked about one of these things that she's doing about a tax thing that will impact me. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm an American. And at the end of the day, I choose America first, right? I think we're all the same way. So I make this video yesterday, and somebody goes down in the comments, and it's really interesting. It was somebody that joined, I think, like they came to like a seminar I did, and I think we charged like $300 or something for the seminar. And this person says, "Don't listen to anything Pace says. I wasted my $300." And then I was like, all right, cool, whatever. At some point, I have 600 employees, I have 9 businesses, we have $500 million in real estate. We do a lot of cool things. In fact, we just launched a nationwide title company that does creative finance in all 50 states. That's a big one. So at some point, you just don't care what people say, right? You just kind of realize that's part of the flow. But then literally, I see that post, over $300, right? Some guy is upset about it. Then I go into the Sub2 Facebook group, and I see the first post I see is the gentleman talks, like it took me 4 minutes for me to decide I'm not even going to read the rest of it because it was so long. And he talked about his journey of how Sub2 changed his life and how the community changed his life. And I was the very last person he thanked, which means the world to me. And a lot of times the posts that don't thank me are my favorite posts because what they do is they're like, I just want to say thanks to Hayel and Stacey Thomas. I want to say thank you to Chris. I want to say thank you to these other people that helped me get these deals and da-da-da-da-da-da. And this guy goes, I was teaching school last year at $30,000. This year I made $500,000 knocking doors. I just got another $40,000 check, right? So obviously the guy who paid the $300 to go to an event, he's the guy that lets the avocado sit on his counter. And what does he do? He blames the grocery store. It's really interesting how easy it is to blame other people for our inaction. Not this room. This is definitely not that type of person, right? This is the beautiful thing about getting a room like this together is that you have a filtered room. I can hang out here all day long because you have cool freaking people in here that the team, Kat and Lee, filtered the right people into this room. That's a powerful place to be. But there's outside people that are out there spending money on a book, a seminar, a this, a that, blah, 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 and they just waste it. Then there's the 20% of people that are like, I'm going to go and make some money this year. But then there's the 1% of people. And I don't know who are my 1%ers in here. Okay, but there's a 1%er in here. There's definitely 1%ers in here. I think there's multiple 1%ers in here. Who are my 1%ers? Raise your hand. Where are my 1%ers? There's other people who are like, I know I'm not a 1%er. Like straight up. And there's power in that too. There's power in understanding, hey, I don't want to be an absolute lunatic like Pace or like Kat or like Stacy or Chris. I don't want to be a lunatic. I don't want to be traveling all over the world, building big things and having 600 employees. Guys, has anybody ever had an employee in here? It's really easy, right? Because like if they could just read your mind, everything would be fine. There's that 4% that are like, I'm going to make money. I'm going to build an amazing income. I'm going to do those things. And then there's those 1% lunatics that create the waves. They're the 1% lunatics that create the new parts of the industry, change the industry, do all of those types of things. And I don't know who you guys are, but I think that there's power. Like, let's look at my wife, for example. My wife, Laura, is not the 1%. My wife, Laura, is who supports the 1%, and therefore she becomes part of that. And so there's people in this room that go, I'm the 1%, and there's other people in this room that are like, I want to support whatever their mission is. I'm on that mission. I want to go chase that down. Right? You guys are taking your wife? Taking care of 5 kids. That's easy. That's light work. Okay, so last night I get a voice memo from somebody, and they sent me a message, and they said, "Man, I'm so discouraged. I'm so upset. I'm so this. I'm so that. I'm so this. I'm so that. I'm so this." What are they really saying? They're telling me they've literally done nothing. They've not made one friendship, right? What would you guys rather have? A friend who has all the information, or you have all the information? Friend. Isn't it weird how if I make a promise to somebody else, I say I'm going to do something, I will actually follow through more than when I promise myself something. Oh my gosh, it hurts me so bad. When I make promises to myself, I fail, I break those promises to myself, then it becomes evidence that I don't do anything that I say I'm going to do. But then when I go get a companion, a friend, a compadre, somebody in the business, all of a sudden, I'll take it seriously. I don't want to let them down. I'm okay letting myself down, but I don't want to let another person down. So if you're one of those people in the 75%, I don't know, maybe there's 5 people in here. Maybe there's 10 people in here. Maybe there's one person in here that's in that 75%, the people that will buy an avocado and let that thing sit on the freaking counter. The solution to that is getting next to the 20% and the 4%, the people that are taking action, and make some commitments and say, hey, let's go do something together. I'll give you a good example of how this worked for me. Okay, the way it worked for me is when I first jumped into the real estate business, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what an assignment contract was. I didn't know what wholesale meant. I did my first wholesale deal, got $25,000, and I had no idea that I'd just done a wholesale deal. That's how little I knew. But what I did know is I made a commitment to a lady who said, I want you to go set appointments for me. And that's all I did. I just said, all right, I'll set appointments for you, and I'll do whatever you tell me to do. But guess what? Prior to that, I told myself for 7 freaking years I was going to get started in real estate. Crazy. Anybody in here still not started in real estate that says, I really need to get started in real estate? Raise your hand. Okay. What's your name? Ed? You do not look like an Ed. What's your full name? There we go. All right. Love it. That's the spice I needed. I love it. So, Ed, you want to get started in real estate. And let me guess, you are probably like, I don't even know what the first thing to do is. It's so vast. It's so big. It's single family, multifamily, RV parks, mobile home parks, land development. Should I build houses? Should I do Airbnb? Are any of those thoughts something that have gone through your mind? Okay. The answer is, it doesn't matter. Right? Because let's think about this, okay? I have this weird analogy, and I don't have a lot of time today. I'm going to be hanging out with you guys on panels, so I could tell stories all day long. But I have this weird trick I do with myself anytime I'm not taking action on something, okay? So I want you guys to think for a second, okay? All of you. What's your name? Vina? Mina. Okay, cool. Mina, nice to meet you. Ed, nice to meet you, bro. Okay, Mina, Ed, everybody else in here, I want you to pay attention to this. You're on your deathbed. Okay? You're laying in the hospital. The heart monitor, you can hear it. Beep, 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 and so on. You know it's going to be the end just any second. Now around you, the first thing I want you to think of, we're going to think of 2 things. The first thing I want you to think of is how many people would be in that hospital room that you've changed their life? How many people would be in that hospital room that you have changed their life? Not that you've been a friend to them, not that you're married to them, you had them as children. How many people are permanently impacted by the actions that you took? That's the first thing I want you to think about. I can confidently say something very cocky, and some people will like me and some people won't like me. How big does the hospital need for me to house all the people that have changed their lives? We're going to have to go build another hospital. Because I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission, right? I'm on a mission to do for other people what somebody did for me. They passed the torch to me, and I remember that feeling of, oh my gosh, I now know how to get started in real estate. That feeling, bro, once somebody gives you that torch and you feel that feeling, there's no greater feeling than having the option of making money in real estate for the rest of your life. It is a powerful feeling. So I'm obsessed with it. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to think of, and I think some people in here are going to go, crap, I'm not going to have that many people. Legit. 10 years ago, I would have had the same answer, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, isn't that what this is all about? Is just passing the torch, not only to our children, but also to everybody in our local community and maybe even in an entire industry? Okay, that's the first thing I want you to think about. Second thing I want you to think about. Somebody walks in the room as your heart monitor is going beep, beep, and you're about to pass away. Everybody's holding your hand, crying, and this angelic figure walks into the room. You've never seen them before. You got like a little glow around them. And they go, hey, I can give you one more day of your life. I have this little blue vial of liquid. What would you give me for this to get one day of your life back? What's the answer? That's the answer, is everything. The answer is everything. I would give everything to get one day of my life back. Do we all agree with that? Okay. Yeah, I guess so. So what happens is I take that vial, I say, take everything in my bank accounts, all my assets, take everything. Take my Prius. Man, I love that thing. Take all the avocados because they're going rotten too. Take those too. I give everything up, and I get this one vial of liquid, and as I'm drinking the liquid, the person goes, oh, hey, I forgot to tell you. There's one caveat. I'm like, you tell me now? He says, you don't get to choose the day I give you back. We're going to go randomly back in your timeline, and we're going to put you back in the shoes that you were wearing that day. You cannot change a single thing. You can only experience that day one more time. The conversations you had with your kids, the smell of your wife's hair, petting your dog. Maybe you yelled at somebody. Maybe you teased somebody inappropriately. That's something I do a little bit too often. Maybe I kept telling myself I'm going to get started. Maybe I kept telling myself tomorrow. Maybe I said something I didn't mean. But if somebody put you in that situation, right? What are the moments, what are the things that go through your mind right now that you would not be okay with living over and over and over like Groundhog Day? I'm going to get started. Tomorrow's the day. Don't worry, I got plenty of time. Meanwhile, you just gave everything for this day to be relived. Would those days be worth everything to relive them? Maybe. From a personal perspective, you've got an amazing wife, right? She supports you, it looks like. You guys got all those things going on. But Ed, can we agree that there's people out there right now that cannot afford housing? And they can't fend for themselves? They don't even know that there's a room like this that exists, that you can be around other real estate investors. They don't even know that this is an opportunity. They don't even know what to search on YouTube. Right? Because there's that whole excuse of like, well, the information's out there. These people could go figure it out too. I'm like, bro, they don't even know what to look for. I remember when I was in this, I wouldn't even have known what to Google to figure out the information that we're getting in rooms like this. So Ed, are there people out there that maybe need your help? Okay. Did you know 1 out of every 30 children in America are sleeping in their parents' cars because their parents can't afford housing right now? 1 in 30. Go down the street, go to Disneyland, go anywhere, even schools. You guys have kids? Okay. 1 in 30 of your kids' friends, they're sleeping in their parents' car or an RV or something because they cannot afford housing. So it's not really about you making money. It's not about me making money. It's about me living up to my highest potential. Right? And for me, when I look at that day that I'm being reversed back to, and I'm reliving that moment, I'm going to ask myself that question. Dude, my wife and I have a great relationship. My kids and I have a great, amazing relationship. But at some point, that box needs to be checked. God did not put you on this planet so you can just pay bills. God put you on this planet so you can help his other children that don't have the ability to help themselves. Okay? I say that because when I learned what real estate was really all about, I realized why I was not taking action on real estate. Because I thought it was egotistical for me to go and make money. I thought it was egotistical for me to go and amass riches and build massive teams and all of these things. I thought it was me being greedy. I want financial independence. I want to be wealthy. I want to choose what I do on a daily basis. Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, I do not choose what I do on a daily basis. I have people that rely on me to make good decisions. Now, I may be different. I'm the 1%. I'm the person that takes that seed from the avocado and I go plant an orchard. And then I go to other people and I go, take my seeds. Go build your own orchards. I'm a lunatic. If we look at my employees, this is how I gauge my success. I might have $500 million in real estate, but the main thing I gauge my success on is this one number. I'm going to leave you guys with this thought process. This is how at least me and the 1% think. I have 600 people that rely on a paycheck from me every 2 weeks. The average person is feeding 3 other people with that paycheck. So that paycheck is feeding 4 people. Okay, so let's do that math. That's 2,400 people. Every single 2 weeks that go, we hope Dad's paycheck clears today. 2,400 people wake up and pray that I make good decisions. It's a heavy weight. But my friends, the crown is heavy. You want to be the best, you got to carry the burden. And when I look at that, okay, 2,400 people rely on that paycheck to clear, right? How many times are they feeding their families a day? 3 times. So think about this. 7,500 meals per day are being fed to people because I make hard decisions that are not for myself. So I want to point something out to you guys. Number 1, if you're not in the 1%, you're not a lunatic like me. Take a moment to thank people like Kat and Lee and say, thank you for being in that 1%. Thank you for fighting for 16 freaking years. Okay? Thank you for fighting for 16 years, hearing thousands and thousands of no's, and more importantly, being the Michael Jordan of this event. Now, here's why was Michael Jordan the best, guys? Because he had the most rings? I'll tell you why Michael Jordan was the best. Because even when, you guys remember the flu game? Anybody remember flu game? It's always the dudes. Okay, so let me give you 30 seconds and I'll leave you with this. Okay? And this is about Kat and Lee. And I just want to give them a compliment. And I want to give other people in this room the same compliment. Stacy, you and your daughter, very similar, okay? So, flu game. This is a decisive game. Michael Jordan is playing a decisive game. Very decisive game. Big deal. The other team, it turns out 20 years later, they find out the other team food poisoned Michael Jordan with a pizza delivery. You guys ever had food poisoning? Liquid coming out of every pore of your body? Okay. It's like eating an avocado that's been sitting on the counter too long, right? So Michael Jordan, what does he do? He puts on, by the way, y'all should Google this because these are my favorite shoes I own. He goes and puts those red and black freaking flu game shoes on, and he puts on a smile. And he goes and shoots, I think he scores 63 points in the game. He's having to take breaks during the game to go sit on the toilet and throw up. And when they asked him, even years and years later, how could you do that? His answer was, people relied on me. That's my job. And he said it with a smile. That's why Michael Jordan's the best. You didn't know what he was going through. You didn't know what was happening. Even Stacy, when you first joined the community, what you and your daughter were going through, nobody would have guessed what you were going through. Nobody would have guessed what you were going through. And I'll let you guys tell that story at your own time, on your podcasts and on stages of your own, all of those things. Nobody knew what you were going through. But gosh, damn. You were like Michael Jordan in flu game. I've never seen a better interviewer on a podcast in my life. And that was while you were going through what you were going through. I want to give you your flowers, and I want to tell you congratulations. Okay, so Kat and Lee, can we give them some freaking love just real quick? Awesome. I love the engineer types, right? The non-emotional types. You know I'm looking at you, bro. Blue shirt. Everybody else is pumped up and excited. Did you guys get a little bit of value in this? Okay. Homeboys over there like, all right, when can I get to my spreadsheets? I just want to do my spreadsheets. Is that what you were thinking about? A little bit? Okay, I promise this is my last story, okay? So, last summer, some of you guys have heard this story, but it's really quick, and I want to remind this moment that we just had of me looking at you, telling you I love you, I appreciate you, I see you, I'm so proud of you, this moment. How long did those claps last? 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Last summer, I go and I chase Jerry Norton down. I go, hey, let's go do a Spartan race, bro. Let's do a 14-mile Spartan race called the Beast. Let's do it. He's like, all right, cool, let's take our kids. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. So we go to Utah, elevation. I was training in Arizona. Bro, elevation difference. You would have known that because you would have looked it up on your spreadsheet, like elevation stuff. I will tease you, just so you know. I'm 1 inch away from teasing you. I should have been a stand-up comedian, don't you think? God! And I was looking up stats, right? Just like I was looking up stats. I went skydiving last year with a bunch of people from the community in Tampa. And I was looking up stats. I was like, okay, cool, it's safer. Jumping out of a plane is safer than me like driving in my Prius down the road, right? By the way, there's somebody in here that's not religious. They wouldn't consider themselves a person of faith. Anybody in here? Like, okay, cool. Which is interesting, because I can vibe with you on that in some ways, okay? But then also, you drive down the freaking road, and the only thing protecting you from a bunch of other idiots hitting you head on is a painted line. You live in absolute faith all day long that some idiot isn't going to sneeze. So we can agree we're all a person of faith, right? At least in that regard. Okay. So I'm looking up statistics, right? And I go, okay, here's what's interesting. Like, it's very similar to an avocado. It's like in the first 3 miles, 75% of people quit. They go, oh crap, I bit off way more than I could chew. Okay, cool. And then it kind of trickles down. It's like the 1% actually like finish this thing, the beast, right? So we get up, and I'm huffing and I'm puffing, but I don't want my son to see his 40-year-old dad like really suffering, right? So I'm just grinning and bearing it. But then my son and I were kind of ahead of Jerry Norton and his kids. We're just a little bit ahead of him. And my son Asher gets to a point where his cramps start setting in, and he goes, "Can I lay down?" And he starts like turning into like rigor mortis. He's like stiff. Like, guys, this is on mile 3 of 14. And so he sees Jerry Norton, his daughter, and his sons coming up, and I go, "Hey, bro, just want to let you know, I looked up the statistics, and I just want to let you know that it's okay to quit right now, because I looked up the numbers. 80% of people will quit in the first 3 miles. We're like right past the 3-mile mark. We're okay." What a learning lesson I had when my son he looks up at me and he says, "I don't want to be a statistic." And homeboy gets up and finishes another 11 freaking miles. Okay? Now, was it easy? No, it was not easy. If you were there during that like 18-hour journey, we're like the last people, they're like wrapping up the tablecloths and the things. But there's a couple lessons I learned, okay? A couple lessons I learned. Number 1 lesson, never say that to anybody. Never say it's okay to quit. It's not okay to quit. give that leeway. Especially my son, right? In a time where we want our men to stand up and be men again. How dare I do that? I should smack myself in the face. But then the biggest lesson I learned in that day was as we crossed that 14-mile finish line, there was no applause. They gave us a medal. I looked at the medal, and I was like, 1 year of training so I could hold a piece of metal that I'm going to end up throwing away. And the reality was, the memories I made during that time, the bonding I had during that time was really the real medal at the end of the day. And so what you have gone through, you and your daughter have gone through to get that 10-second clap, that's not the reward. The reward is the bonding, the memories, the hell yeah, we freaking did it. That whole commitment, and that has been tattooed in your brain that you can do hard things. That's the reward. Same thing with Kat and Lee. Same thing with everybody in here. Guys, it's going to be harder than you think. It's going to take more time than you think. You're going to get way less applause than you ever expected. But remember that these are the good days. The moments we get to hang out with each other. We get to go through the trenches together. We get to fight for us building our legacies. I have 25 more stories. You guys want to stick around for 2 more? I love you guys. Proud of so many people in this room. So proud of so many freaking people in this room. Let's not waste our aguacates, okay, guys? All right, I'll see you in the next panel.
For me, personally, when I joined Sub 2, I was like, okay, I'm doing great. I'm a business owner. I'm doing wonderful. But when I joined Sub 2, my mindset completely blew up. And like you said, I was like, I felt greedy also. I was like, maybe I shouldn't be asking for more. Maybe this is just enough. But what you've taught me is that, you give back, and you give back, and you give back. And so, you could talk a little bit about your journey and your mindset. I think everyone would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I think the first part of everybody's journey, and I think everybody will have the same answer, is the second you broke out of that old mindset was the second you met other people that had a better mindset than you. I didn't do it on my own. It wasn't a book that I read. It wasn't a seminar I went to. It
wasn't a pill you took?
No, it wasn't. I mean, that would be. Can you imagine?
That would be dope.
Can you imagine if we could invent that pill? It was a person that cared for me, and then it was another person that cared for me, and another person that cared for me that helped me change my mindset. And I think a lot of my mindset changed without me even being aware of it changing. It was then my family members were like, "You've changed," but in a negative way. It's like, "You've changed. What's wrong with you?" type of thing. And then I started noticing it. Right? And I think a lot of people. Anybody else in here experienced that kind of stuff over the last couple of years? You have a lot less in common with the people that you went to high school with. I was on an Instagram live yesterday, and I had 2 of my high school friends that texted me right after my Instagram live. And they were like, "Wow, you've changed. I don't even recognize you, man." And I replied back and I said, "Thank goodness."
Yes!
So again, the answer is the people, and get around people that are doing more than you. And that's hard. I think when you guys remember when you were on the playground, maybe you probably don't, but it was so easy. Your kids come to my house, right? The Marvel kids come to my house in Montana. Your boy just goes straight up and picks up a mouse out of the field. Not exaggerating. He goes, we have these field mice in Montana. Their boy comes up, pulls a mouse out of the field. This thing's running like crazy. The mice bites their son on the hand. And he immediately turns around, 2 minutes later, he's got another mouse in his hand. And you look at that and you're like, and by the way, his kids and my kids immediately become friends. Right? Where did that change? Where did it change where we just go up to people and just like people? Right? You have these kids that don't have any, this is what's really interesting. My daughter, Corbin, hangs out with a lot of black people, a lot of Hispanic people. When I was younger, I was surprised with 1 black kid in my entire school. It just wasn't culture. And then I look at my kids, they don't see race, they don't see color, they don't see any poverty thing at all. And it is so freaking cool that that's what our kids show up as, right? Okay, so where does it change? Where does it change from I'm friends with everybody all the time as a kid because all I want to do is play, to then when you get older and the answer to solve all your problems is go network with people, you go, ooh, I have to talk to other people? How did that happen? I'm going to write a book on that because I don't know the answer, but then you basically have to go out of your way to like break those habits and those molds, and you go make friends with people. I'm friends with probably 50, 60 people in this room, really good friends with people in this room. Done deals with people in this room. And I think it was a big thing in my 20s as a contractor. Everything was, I'm keeping it to myself. In fact, last thing I'll say, maybe we could get to a second question if I would stop talking.
No, keep talking.
But I had this, when I was a contractor like 13 years ago, I was like, there's something wrong with the construction industry. Why don't I go find contractors on Instagram that I really like, and I'll invite them to come play golf with me, and we'll become like a little, group of contractors. We'll be homies and share best practices. And I reached out to this guy I really admired. In fact, we were DMing back and forth, and then I said, hey, I'm a member of this golf club. Come spend a day with me. I've got 2 other guys coming with me. This is a guy I DM'd back and forth probably 20 times. His reply was, you're not going to ask me about how I run my business, are you? I was like, whoa, oh, wow. And so part of me, when I jumped into real estate was very similar to that. I had this guy named Jason Ellingson. He's not here, so that guy came. I first jumped into real estate. Bethany Willis, the lady who helped me, and she loved on me, and Eileen Brown, who loved on me. Eileen Brown just retired, by the way, like 3 months ago. Bethany Willis, she retires. And I go, all right, who's the next person I'm going to hang out with? And I find this guy that's closing a ton of deals, and I said, can I go on an appointment with you? And he kept saying, no. And I said, what if I sell you a deal? Will that give you, cause to give me some of your time? And he says, no. He never took me on an appointment. And so when I first started getting momentum and traction, I said, I'm going to be the polar opposite of that guy. And isn't that weird? Thank you, Jason Ellingson, for saying no, because we're all in this room because you said no to me.
Yes! Woo! And how crazy that is, your mindset shifted to, you already had a collaboration mindset. So you already naturally had that, but other people couldn't accept it. And I see that all the time in the industry, not even in just real estate, all over. And the beautiful thing that I learned with Sub 2 is that we have so many go-givers, and you started that message, and it transcends and has rippled like wildfire with our Sub 2 people. So we lift people up that aren't even in Sub 2, that aren't even members, because of what you started. You had that whole mindset.
Well, to be clear, let's be clear here. Do we not all agree that we were born with some divine gift to care about people and love on other people?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't want to get religious or anything, and I won't. But I think all we do in our community, and you guys do the same thing in your, do I say Latinos when I'm talking about men and women?
Yes, but the Latin dance community is literally all over the world.
I know, totally aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you...
Latinos, yes.
Latinos, okay. So I'm sure you deal with this as well in the Latino thing, where it's weird that all you're doing is reminding people of who they really are, which is everybody in here has the natural foundational element of I want to give, I want to take care of other people,
Yep.
I want to show love and adoration to other people, and really all our community does is give you permission to be that person. That's it. It's not that I'm creating people to be that way, I'm just going, hey, just so you know, it's better just being yourself.
I love that.
And I'm sure that over 16 years of you going and building what you built, you probably had people that ran into you like, what's wrong with you? Why do you want to collaborate so much? Why do you want to do this so much? Why do you want to help so much? Again, where did that get? Was that our parents? Was that school? Was it politics? What is it that put us in that mindset in our teens and early 20s that now, as we're going through our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, we're having to go back to just being kids again? I don't know. It's an interesting there. I got to dissect that.
Yeah. You are the ultimate go. I'm just I'm a little starstruck too right now. I'm just I gotta be real.
I'm just a guy that drives a Prius and wears Converse All-Stars. That's all there is to it.
Let's give it up for Pace one more time. Oh my God. He's a wealth of knowledge. Okay, so we have some beginners here. We have a lot of sub 2 people, and you are the creative finance guru. I know you get this question a lot. Like, how do people get started? You talk a lot about avatars and your strengths and that kind of thing. And there's some people that know about avatars, some people that don't. But I wanted you to kind of hit a little bit on that and like, you know, using your personal strengths to really elevate and your whole squad up mission and the collaboration on that side, lifting up the community. Talk a little bit about that and how that came about.
Okay, cool. So I'll tell you the ABCs of getting started. Anybody want to take notes real quick? Literally, it's ABCs. We got one note taker in the house. What's your name? Ricardo? Carlos. That's my guy. Okay, we got that. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, so here's the ABCs of getting started in real estate. A, area. Choose your area. Sounds simple, but people are like 3 years into I'm trying to get started and they have not said, this is my area, I'm going to get started. Because once you choose your area, and you go, this is where I'm starting. It's okay if I change at some point, but this is where I'm starting. You now start driving through that area and you start looking at things just a little bit differently. You don't know what you're looking at quite yet, but you start going, okay, this is my spot, right? So area is number 1. And if you don't have that, then sending out offers, you're not going to send out offers. You're not going to do any of that. And that's B. B is blast out offers or blast out opportunities or LOIs. For a lot of people are doing a lot of LOI blasting right now. It seems to be a very popular thing. So sending out offers. C, calls. And also the cycle of calls, which is follow-up. D is documents. And what a lot of people do is they go, I gotta learn all the documents and the words and the this and the that and such and blah, 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 when none of that matters at all unless you've done A, B, and C. I don't know why people want to start the alphabet with D. It starts with A, and then goes to B, then goes to C. Finally, documents are important, right? So that's the basics of like getting started in real estate. Now, this is where it gets complex. And this is why this is so challenging. Because if somebody said, how do I get started in being a doctor? We kind of all know the answer. Go to college, get a 4-year degree, go to medical school, right? We kind of know that. And then specialize later down the road. Right? It's kind of weird. What everybody in real estate wants to do is they want to specialize on day 1. Right? Like I'm going to specialize in this thing. Avishkar, where are you at? Is he in the room? He's probably saving somebody's life. So we've got a doctor. Any doctors in the house today? Okay, you're a doctor. Did you change your mind when you were in medical school what you wanted to switch over to? Yeah. Welcome to real estate. Okay, we changed, we pivot. Tanisha Spencer, she got married a year ago on Monday. It's her 1-year anniversary, by the way. Give it up for Tanisha. So Tanisha, for example, she got started and she was doing deals and she was doing a little wholesale. She wholesaled the deal to me in Lafayette, North Carolina. Or Fayetteville, North Carolina. I think you made $5,000 on that deal. And you ended up not wanting to be a wholesaler. Right? Because you went to medical school and you changed your specialty because you realized what you really wanted to do was midterm rentals. Right? So I want you to understand that everything will change and have that expectation. Everything will change, you will change, your expectations of your life will change, what you want to accomplish will change, and so stop thinking about it now and just get started. So now, here's where it gets even more complex. Who are you? Can I tell you a couple things about you? You wear an undershirt, and you have a button up, you do your hair tight, high and tight, and you have an undershirt on. That tells me about 17,000 things about you. Okay, you like things to be in order, you like things to be somewhat perfect, and sometimes that becomes a problem for you because you go, I want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row before I do the thing because I don't want to make a mistake. Does that sound a little bit accurate? Okay, that was you, perfect. So some people are going to be like that when they have that personality. Other people like me, we have an advantage because we're dumb. We don't even think, bro. We don't even think. Have you guys ever met stupid people that are making money? So you have to kind of figure out where you fit. And this is when I kind of learned this. So when I first started 11 years ago in wholesale, I was a Homevestor franchise owner. For those of you guys that don't know what that means, you guys have seen the We Buy Ugly Houses people with the caveman and the yellow post signs. Everybody, give me a hand up if you've seen it. Okay, cool. 90% of people have seen it. I was one of those guys in Phoenix. And what we did is 20 of us would meet once a month, and all 20 of us owned that Phoenix area together. We would all throw our money in we go, all right, you got 20 grand, you got 20 grand, you got 20 grand. 20 of us would spend 400 grand a month in marketing. Okay? Why am I not one of those people anymore? I'm not one of those people anymore because they were very much like crabs in a bucket. Okay, we all have family, especially in the Latino community, right? Any Latinos in here, your family says, oh, you think you're a hotshot now. Right? My wife's family teased her for 15 years because she was a cheerleader. Oh, you little cheerleader, huh? You think you're better than us, huh? I still go to El Paso and they still say that to her. She's like 37 years old. Okay? So that's crabs in a bucket. I don't want you to do better than me because then it's an attack on me. And so what people do is they pull you down. So this group of people, these 20 people, when I would say, hey, let's go on appointments together, and they'd come on appointments on my appointments, and I'd go on appointments with them, man, I'm sitting there learning so much about how they do it, and they take things away from what I'm doing. But then there's a couple of them in there that were like, this is not the way the business is supposed to be running. You should be focusing on your business pace. Stop getting involved in these other people's business. Like, we're collaborating, dude. We've done deals together. And this is 2018. Okay, 2018, 6 years ago, they had an intervention for me. I'm not exaggerating. A guy who's never drank or done drugs in his life, like I have, my morals are like, wait, should I take this Advil? If I take this Advil, I'm gonna be a junkie, you know? Somebody had to have an intervention. 19 other men in a room planned an intervention because I was sitting there saying things to each other like, oh, dude, you know what, you could do better, and you know, if you could help him because that guy has this, and he and it pissed them off so much. And I had a mentor at the time. He was $500 an hour, and he told me the story of the crabs in a bucket. And I'd never heard that story before until 2018. I said, what does that mean? He goes, you are in the wrong environment. You're not even a crab. Why are you in a bucket of crabs? Get the hell out of there. And so I sold my business to somebody else somebody else that wanted to be in that room. And I got away and I said, man, let's go through the last 6 years of my business and let's go and line out every single person that has been amazing in my journey. What did they bring to the table? What did they need from me? And I created this little, like, anybody ever create like a mind map, like, you know, connections and all that kind of stuff? I created one of those and I started identifying personality types that I needed in my life and personality types that needed my weird, you know, energy. Right? You can see that I have energy that some people don't have, and some people have more energy than me. Right? I get a feed off of that energy, which is great. So I created this mind map, and I go, dude, these are like avatars. These are like individual superheroes in the real estate world. So I would tell people that are just trying to get started, go and watch one of my avatar videos. They are very long, 4 hours long. I'm very sorry. But I would identify an avatar that best suits you currently. And right now, I probably will spend 200 grand on this book, but I'm building an avatar book right now that will be like this thick. Anybody ever play video games in here and like you bought the video game guide, like the beautiful illustrated books? I have an avatar book coming out right now where I'm highlighting very specific avatars. There's people in this room that are avatars I'm not, right? They bring something to the table I could never bring to the table. And, okay, last thing I'll say about this. Do you guys remember when you had your group of friends when you were younger? And when one of those friends was sick, the entire dynamic of the friendship and the group was off? You guys remember this? Like you'd have sleepovers, you'd hang out, one of them up and the energy was all up. I could feel in my career in 2018, I could feel the energy was off. I was missing very important people. And so I set out to try and create an environment that I could do that. And that's when I started doing meetups on Fridays in my office. Was in 2018. I started taking people on appointments, and I started talking about avatars. And I would say, we're missing this kind of person. We're missing this kind of person. Let's go attract this person. And then next thing you know, our meetup got to a point where it was like 300 people big, a meetup. And I knew I was onto something at the end of 2018. People were wanting to take pictures with me, which was really weird. And there was this guy that waited in line at our meetup. And he waited in line, you could see him, you know, he was the kind of, you can feel people's like nervous energy, you know? And he was waiting, I could feel his nervous energy like getting closer and closer and closer to me. And I, you know, man, nice to meet you, blah, 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 where are you from? I could tell he wasn't, you know, born in America. He goes, man, I'm from Portugal. I go, great, how long have you been in the United States? He says, 2 hours. I just landed. I go, oh, cool. So you like went and visited your parents? He goes, no, I live in Portugal, but I came to your meetup because I wanted to meet you. Because you talked about an avatar, and it finally made me realize I had something to offer to the real estate industry that, for the longest time, I didn't feel like I could add any value. And so I knew I was onto something. Right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, like, as a doctor, if the whole entire hospital was full of doctors, would that hospital run? Hell no. Absolutely not. And so it's the same thing with the real estate industry is that, yeah, you got some doctors, those are the lunatics. They question themselves every single day whether they want to be the doctors. But then you've got other people, right? Radiologists. You've got people that are the gurney runners. You got the people that are running the lab. And you've got people that we all rely on each other to do the thing. And real estate is probably 10 times more diverse than even a hospital ever could be. And so there's so many places for all of us to fit in and make money together. And I'm grateful I found this business because of that exact fact. It's cool.
I love that. I love that.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, Pace, but if I don't leave now, the lunch isn't going to happen. But the entire DMV community wanted to give you a gift. And
oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
This is for your Montana house.
What?
And we wanted to thank you for coming to BC. We love you. And
This is going in my Montana studio. Oh my god!
yeah,
That is so legit!
I hope you like it.
It
It was all
blinks.
the sub 2 leaders.
Thank you, guys.
We all did this for you.
That is so legit!
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I heard it fits in the overhead compartment of nothing. But we're going to ship it to you. So on behalf of the DMV community, thank you so much for leaving your oasis in Montana here to DC. So let's give it up for Pace.
Thank you guys. Thank you. All right, we're going to lunch.
Yes, let's do what time is it right now? Do you have
Oh,
time?
you guys got time, but I have to go.
Okay,
That's
cool.
why
Okay,
I'm
let's
gonna
do a
go.
quick fire Q&A. If anybody has any questions for Pace, raise your hand and he'll answer your questions.
So, real quick, for the people that are like still like, how do I get started? First thing you want to do is you want to answer the question is, what is my avatar? If you don't have that answer, I can't give you the next step. And if you come to rooms like this with people who actually understand the avatars, they can't help you either. Right? So for me, I would walk into a room like this and I'd go, hi, my name is Pace Morby. I'm direct to seller and I'm really good at closing deals. I just want to talk to sellers all day long. What do you do? Right? And you'll say something like, oh, I'm really good at generating leads, or I'm really good at, doing paperwork. I'm really good at managing a portfolio. I'm really good at da-da-da-da. All these individual avatars have specific skills that you wake up in the morning. Where are my closers in here? People, just all you want to do is talk to sellers all day long. Tech, you can raise your hand too, bro. Tanisha's good at talking to people, but you know what Tanisha's really found out she's really good at? She's really good at finding people to fill. She does my midterm rentals. She's closed deals. She's done all sorts of things. She's done paperwork. She's sent contracts. But she's found her unique skill. So her unique skill is not something she found out about herself. I think it was actually the opposite. I think what it was you jumped into real estate thinking you were going to have to change as a person, but what you realized was, holy crap, I already have this unique set of skills I've been working on for 10 years, and it's how I naturally show up, and you then went and are starting to dominate the midterm rental market. it took you a while to give yourself permission to use the existing skills you already have. Yeah. Yes. So if you are, somebody says, how do I get started, Ed? Before the end of the weekend, you should know, what is my avatar? And then you'll have some jumping off points. Okay? And Carlos. Carlos is just a note taker. Ed, you memorize things. I like it. All right.
I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, anyone have any questions? Questions? Over here in the back. Yeah, you right there, yeah. Yes.
I have a question for you, Pace, because you kind of touched on it earlier in the segment about kind of like when you're starting out. So for me, so I'm a young guy that's kind of getting into this business, and I'm blessed to say that I've had some success in real estate on my side. And I just kind of wanted to kind of ask you, how do you kind of traverse something like that, where in my peer group or even amongst my family, it's like kind of hard for me to talk about it because it's almost like a little embarrassed that I'm a little too little for my age. And I just
Do you speak Spanish?
No, I do not speak Spanish.
Okay, so who in here primarily your first language is speaking Spanish? Okay. Your first language is speaking Spanish, but you now understand English, right? If you walked up to him and you spoke Spanish to him, that would be kind of crazy, right? Yes or no? You would assume going up to him, right? He's a black guy. You would assume he doesn't speak Spanish, right? Maybe you're in a room full of, I get it. There's a lot, but you know what I'm saying, right? Okay, so this is how I look at my family. All of us speak two languages in here. All of my owners, you guys know this, we've talked about this. We speak two languages. You speak English, obviously, right? What's the other language you speak? It's called entrepreneurship. Why would I speak a language to a human being that they can't understand? That's crazy, bro. That is so crazy that you are hitting your head against the wall. Would it be crazy for him to just keep speaking Spanish to you even though you go, bro, I speak English. I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. It would be crazy. And so at some point, you got to realize that you're an entrepreneur. It's a language that very, very, very few people on the planet speak. It's hard to identify. We speak the same language. These are the people you talk to about your dreams, your hopes, your goals, your this, that, and the other. And the second I realized that, and the second I just went to my Thanksgivings and my Christmases, and I did not talk about my goals, my hopes, my dreams, and I just went out and I talked to my chosen family that speaks entrepreneurship, right? That's when everything changed for me.
Thank you, Pace. I appreciate it.
Question?
Right here. Hey, thank you for coming. You're absolutely amazing. I watch all your videos.
Thank you, bro.
Definitely love your mindset. My question has to do with work ethic. I know you to be a very hard worker. I mean, anybody that creates 4-hour videos is a hard worker, okay? 24-hour lives too. So the question is, how do you balance? Some people have the 4-hour work week mentality, and others, adopt the mentality that I'm going to work hard, 17, 18 hours a day. How do you balance that? Because, my idea of success is delegating and allowing other people to do work for me. But you spoke earlier about people being dependent and relying on you to make sure you make good decisions. So how do you balance the workload?
Okay, so really great question. So a lot of the people that you're asking a different question than I'm going to start out with. Okay, the first question I'm going to answer is there's other people in here that are like, how do I balance my work and my personal life? And that's not the exact question you're asking, but I want to get to your question. I want to check the box of the first one and then get to your second one. So the first one, this one's more common than your question you just asked me. It's how do I balance my work life and my personal life? And 100% of the time, this is not 99% of the time, this is 100% of the time, the person who's asking me, whether they're a female or male, 100% of the time they have a non-supportive spouse to some degree. And that is the hardest thing because what they're doing is they're hearing the pull over on this side, like, why are you spending all this time doing this, right? And I heard this really great thing from Lewis Howes. He says, why do they give you a hard time when you're trying to grow? The answer is because you are killing the version of yourself that they are attached to. And that's their reality. Their reality is you in this world, in this bubble. And so when you break yourself out of that, you're killing the person that they married, that they dedicated their life to, and so you have to expect turbulence. Not, I'm going to deal with this, you expect the turbulence, and then you get through it. Does that make sense?
Pace Morby's at? I didn't see.
She's trying to be like, incognito. September 6th. Got a little bit of time. How about you? Right now, and thank you so much. I'm waiting. Are you going there, Chad? Hello everybody, if you guys could please start to make your way downstairs to the boardroom on level down. We're starting our workshop right now, and thank you so much.
That's your key. Every home for sale. You give me a call, I will open that door for you. That will open. If it's for sale, if there's a sign on market, it will open. If it's not for sale yet, I'll keep on to sell. Please sell your home. Please sell your home.
And we're going to take some of your questions. So my first question is, how many people here today are new to real estate? Raise your hand high. Cut it up. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys have an opportunity to ask some questions, to learn some things. We're going to keep it very simple. But first of all, I'm going to get started by telling you who I am. For those of you that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Stacey Thomas. I am a nationwide real estate investor. I have been investing in real estate since 2006, but I wouldn't call myself a savvy real estate investor at that time because I had no idea what I was doing. I was not part of a community. I did not have a mentor. I did not have time to do any research. So I failed a lot of times. But in 2021, I found this great mentor by the name of Pace Morby. How many of you heard Pace Morby today? Yes, so I joined this community with my daughter, Jael, and we had an opportunity at that time to help an elderly gentleman. And we couldn't figure out how to really help him because somebody had sold him a property because he didn't know anything about real estate. So it was like predatory lending. And so Pace told us when we came into the community, make at least 50 friends right away. Connect with people that have already been here and they will help you. Well, within 30 days of coming into the community, we reached out to people right here in the DMV, and we were able to help that gentleman out of that situation and make a $10,000 assignment fee. Woo! And I said, this is the real deal, but I used a bad word. But anyway, you guys know what I mean. But after that, we were sold, and since then we have acquired 87 doors or 89 doors. And we, helped a bunch of people wholesaling, buy and hold, and we've learned so much. But bigger than anything, we have made the best relationships that we ever could have made in our lives. Some of the people that we met in our sub-2 community, we consider them now to be our family members. And Pace has taught us that it's really not about the money, but it's about who you can help and how you can help them. The money will come. You don't have to focus on the money. Focus on helping people that are in a serious situation and they have no idea how to get out of it. So I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are and what they do, and then specifically some areas that they primarily focus on in real estate. And then after that, we'll let you guys ask questions because I think we have to end by 2:30. So I do apologize for the late start. The first person that I would like to introduce themselves is Mr. Aruna Karoma. Okay, take it away, sir.
So guys, my name is Aruna Karoma, and I am a real estate investor. And I focus primarily on raising private capital to do joint venture deals in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. These deals benefit both the investor and myself mutually. Okay, that is my model that I follow. I'm also a licensed broker. I have a construction company called Twin Flame Development. And I'm a father of 6 and just happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. The next person I'd like to bring to the stage and introduce is Mr. Chris Thompson.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Chris Thompson. I am a real estate investor. Similar to Stacy, I got in at 2006, predominantly as a realtor. I've been licensed for 18 years now. I was a traditional investor. I had 5 doors prior to joining sub-2 2.5 years ago. I was up to 30 rentals. I'm now down to 18. Just made some different moves. But since joining sub-2, I've done 55, 56 deals with multiple members of the community, which has been awesome. I'm also a property manager. I currently manage 21 doors for clients. I personally manage my own team. I'm in 5 different states right now. So anything far away, I hire out that management, but I'm still pretty actively involved in that. And I also own a small renovation company here in Maryland.
Good afternoon, everybody. I invest in the Hampton Roads, Virginia market. I'm what they call a unicorn agent. So most of the time, I'm on the phone with agents, teaching them about creative finance. And then I buy and hold creatively. I mix and flip, wholesale. But lately, my primary focus has been on coding.
And Mr. Rob Lacey.
Hey, how's everyone doing this afternoon? My name is Rob Lacey. I am a real estate investor. Unlike any of my fellow panelists on the stage here, I am not a licensed real estate agent or broker. I'm just a guy that stumbled on real estate a few years ago. Started out in real estate doing wholesaling. Started with, I think, anyone ever heard of Fortune Builders?
Oh yeah.
That's where I started, Fortune Builders. That's how I got introduced to it, but wholesaled a few dozen properties in 5 years. I've been doing this now since 2019, and also stumbled across sub-2 back in 2020 during COVID, and done about a dozen or so deals creatively in that time frame. So still finding my way in this thing, but yeah, any questions anyone has for me, feel free.
Thank you, Rob. And we have a beautiful young lady that joined us a little late. Thank you for coming. Please introduce yourself.
Sabrina Franco. I am a real estate investor. I am the founder, my husband and I, the founders of Fix Flip en Español. So, Fix and Flip, right? The name says it all. So one time someone told me, why are you teaching the Hispanic community, the Latinos, how to invest, or workers will ask us, like, how do you do it, how do you do it? Well, a moment came in which we started teaching, and someone asked me, why are you teaching them? Well, it's because, why not, right? But they know construction, so they see us as the hardest working people out there. Who doesn't have a Latino working in the construction? So my husband and I are building, or I guess our legacy, and we're bringing a lot of people with us, and it feels really good. This month, actually, we had our yearly event, and or two of the first two millionaires in real estate. So it feels good not to work only for yourself, but also to bring others with you. Anything you guys need to ask us, I'm here.
Congratulations. We're not going to spend any more time talking about what we do. We want to hear from you guys, especially the new folks that are just getting started. So if you have a question for someone on the panel, please raise your hand so I can bring you the microphone, and we want to really help you figure it out today. Who wants to go first? Don't be shy, because I will call you out. For the new people, come on.
I'll ask a question for the new people.
Thank you very much. One second, let me do my opening.
All right, yeah. I could have just been loud. But
Yes.
If you didn't know anything that you know right now, but you wanted to get into real estate and that's all you knew, what would you do? Day one.
Great question.
I'll start because that was me a few years ago. The way that I got started, working a 9-to-5 job, I was out meeting a client, and the client helped me. They stood me up. So I was in the neighborhood, and I said, well, since I'm here, let me walk around the neighborhood and see if I see any distressed houses. And that's exactly what I did. So driving for dollars is the way that I got started. Driving around just looking for the ugliest house on the nicest block. And I sent them a postcard, and the power of attorney actually for that property reached back out to me, said they were interested in selling, and that turned into a $45,000 assignment deal. So, I think it's short. I mean, there's multiple ways to get started, but driving for dollars is something that is low entry, not a lot of overhead other than gas and time. But that's one way to get started for sure.
I want to expand on what you just said too, because, sorry, I could have been just loud, I'm done. What people don't know when you are getting started is that the mileage that you are going driving around, that's a tax write-off. Yeah. And you have no idea. I don't know if this works. I feel like I'm just anyways, I cannot tell you how many thousands of dollars I've saved in taxes just by recording my mileage from driving for dollars. I'm talking like $5 grand I have saved in taxes from driving for dollars. So if you track your mileage, shit's clutch.
Thank you. Okay.
Another
Chris, you
round.
want to elaborate
Yeah,
on that?
another way if you're just getting started, stalk social media for local meetups. I know just in our area in DMV, there are like 4 or 5. Stacy, I know you and JL host one. I host one. Brandon, I know you host one. Who here has been to a meetup? Who here is here today because of going to one of those meetups? That's awesome. There's a zillion different ways to find a way to get in. You just have to take the first step.
So, similar to what he said and the gentleman here, one of the first things you want to do is pick your marketplace, right? Pick your marketplace and then educate yourself about that marketplace, right? The housing in the marketplace is your inventory. If you don't know the pricing, if you don't know the good versus bad areas, if you don't have an intimate understanding of your marketplace, then you're not going to be very effective in that marketplace. And Pace said it best earlier as well. He said that's one of the first things you do is pick the marketplace. Once you pick the marketplace, then you want to educate yourself. And part of that education is going out and networking with okay? You never know who's sitting to the right or left of you. And so just try to meet as many people as you can and continue learning and going out in the marketplace. And once you're comfortable, then you can start making offers.
And I just want to add to all of that, great points. Just learn the power of leveraging, the power of relationships. It made a huge difference for us the moment we realized that the money we make doesn't have to stay in our bank account. Like real estate has enough money for everybody. If you know how to buy right, if you know how to buy cheap, okay? We are in the business of solving problems, but we gotta make a profit. And if you know that there's enough money for everybody in a transaction, then you don't care if a wholesaler makes $50,000 and you're gonna make $40,000 in your flip. If that's the number that you're happy with, like stop focusing on what other people are gonna make and start focusing on just making enough to leave enough money for other people out there. We all gotta eat. Get close to people who have the same mindset or who are going to the same place you're going. Like your circle makes a huge impact when you're trying to grow. And if the people in your circle right now are not serving that purpose, I'm sorry, you might have to put them aside for a while and come back for them once you're in that position.
Thank you, Pam. Excellent answer.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things about real estate is that you meet a lot of people from all different walks of life that come from many different walks of life. And so to just kind of inspire the ones that are here today, that are here seeking knowledge, and especially the ones who are brand new, if you can kind of share with us the knowledge that you've experienced throughout your time in real estate, right? A lot of ups, a lot of downs. If you could go back in time and say, okay, with the knowledge you have now, what would you have done differently? What would you like to do moving forward? So that way, we don't make those mistakes that maybe you guys experienced. If you could just share that with us, I think that'd be great.
I think that's a great question. You know, hindsight is always 20/20, right? I always say one of the things that I would focus in on early in the business is raising private capital. Okay, you guys are going into business for yourself, and what do most business owners do? They finance the business, right? Either through their personal funds, credit cards, personal cash reserves, or they go out and get a loan. Okay, so if you're going to be in this real estate business, it's very, very imperative that you find ways to raise private capital. Now, if you're a wholesaler, different story, right? But even as a wholesaler, if you're going to expand and scale, it costs money, right? So if you personally don't have those funds, then you need to find ways to raise the funds, either through doing deals or going out and networking with people and partnering up to make sure that you have that capital to go out and build your business. Okay, so that's one of the things I would do.
I made so many mistakes. My first wholesale deal ended up being my first flip. Because I'm so ambitious. I'm like, I can do this. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just jumped out there and I just did it. It's a full story behind it, but everybody's journey is going to be different. So your question of tell us what we can do so we don't make those mistakes. We could tell you all day, but every deal has a different story. Every deal is going to be different, and you're going to experience something different every time. The basics of it may be the same, but you're going to run into an issue to where you have no idea what to do. Even after you study, there's going to be something that comes up to where you're like, I didn't learn this. I don't know what to do here. So my advice is to just get out there and do it. Because that's what I did. I made a bunch of mistakes. It was stuff that nobody taught me. And I don't regret any of it because of the lessons that I learned. And I'm able to teach people things that a lot of people haven't been through because I just jumped out there and I just did it.
One thing I wanted to add on to that, was comments made earlier. What you want to really do is you want to find your market, and that was the comment that was made, because you might think that you have a deal because the interest rate is low or because the seller only wants $10,000 or whatever the case might be. But if you don't know your market, then you may not be able to move that property, and that can cause a whole ton of problems that you never anticipated. So knowing your market, knowing your numbers prior to signing a contract with that seller, making them a promise that you can't deliver on is one of the worst feelings. I've been there. So just know your market, know your numbers prior to signing a contract.
Hi, my name is Hans, a unicorn agent from Baltimore. I have a question for everybody. So if you guys have to start over from zero, what would you do now?
Not become an agent.
Good answer.
To elaborate on that, the 20th was my 18th year as a licensed realtor. Second generation, my dad was an agent and also a traditional investor. Obviously would push me into real estate. But kind of playing off that, if I knew then what I know now, I would have gone just the investor route. I would not have become a realtor. And I love being a realtor. I love helping people, predominantly a listing agent. So pretty much direct to seller. So when it comes to the investing side of things, more predominantly direct to seller as well. It's given me a lot of great things. It's given me a great life, but the investor side of the business is a lot more enjoyable. It's a lot more fluid. You don't have to worry about the NAR coming down your throat. But yeah, I would go more on the investor side than the agent side.
And to add to that, I would say, just focusing in on making offers, right? They say you miss 100% of the shots if you don't take, right? So if you're not out there making offers, there's no way to get that first deal done. Okay, I can speak from my personal experience when I came to a seminar just like this, and at that time I was a licensed agent, and the gentleman in front of the room was talking about wholesaling. And to summarize, he said, look, you can sell a piece of paper and make 10 grand on average. And at that time, I was a real estate agent. I'm thinking, okay, I'm used to working the deal all the way through, going through the gauntlet and, all the aches and the pains and the landmines and all of this to finally get to my commission check. Okay, so when I heard that, it baffled me. I'm like, there's no way I can just sell someone a piece of paper and then wait on the closing to make 10 grand. But I set out to prove it either right or wrong. And that's the way I operate. If somebody tells me something, I'm not a believer. I want to be practical about it. I want to go out and either test it and say it works or it doesn't work. So I think I put out probably 50 some odd offers. And I'm dating myself here. This was back when we were using fax machines, right? So I had this template that I was using, and the first page was, the interchangeable page, and the last page was also interchangeable. But then you had the guts, which were, pretty much uniform. So I put 50 offers together, put them all on the fax machine, and sent them all out. I'm gonna be very frank with you guys. I didn't get one accepted offer from that session. But in the course of that, and me talking up what I did, my partner ended up sending me a deal, which was a bank foreclosure, and I ended up putting that one under contract, okay? But obviously I had to make the offer to put it under contract. So it kind of goes back to the point of you have to make offers in order to get your first one under contract. You guys have ever heard of Express Home Buyers? Yeah. Okay, Brad Chandler, they picked up my first deal. Okay, I made $12,000 and I was happy as a kid at camp. Okay, so you just got to get out there and make a bunch of offers. Okay, that's pretty much what I would do if I was starting over again.
What I wouldn't do if I were to start all over again, I'm going to start with that because it costs me a lot of money and everybody hurts when you lose money, right? Okay, well, my husband told me, and he's back there, stop saying that you lost money because we didn't lose any money. He gained all the knowledge that has helped us make a lot more money throughout exactly, right? So I stopped saying that, but what I wouldn't do is go with what they taught us. Don't take the first contract, send 3 contractors. Don't take the first one, don't take the second one, take the one in the middle. Well, guess what? The one in the middle didn't tell us that there was problems with the foundation, that the AC needed to be changed. So that project ended up costing us a lot of Morby, we paid about $40,000 to learn the business, money that we didn't have. So we really wanted to get in the business. I didn't want to, that's after having my daughter, I didn't want to go back to a 9 to 5. So if you guys are going to start, like, don't do that, okay? Learn. And if you don't know construction, if you want to get into fixing and flipping, don't take the word of a contractor. You can either partner with someone who already knows the business, and it's okay, once again, to share the money. At the beginning, you're gonna have to learn to pay the price to success, to have success.
I would say don't waste time on things that people say you should do. So when you first go into real estate, a lot of people say wholesale, get on the phones, negotiate, you gotta be the best at it, and that's how you can do it. But if you know in your heart, like, that's not what you wanna do, don't waste time. So if your main goal is to buy and hold, is to fix and flip, then focus on that. Don't waste time on things that you don't wanna do. Because if you do wanna deal, just buy it from a wholesaler. A lot of time was wasted when I first joined with like just cold calling. Like, I get on the phone, I'm like sweating, like, oh my God, and it was cursing me out, and it was just something that I didn't want to do. And so I'm just saying, don't waste time on something like that. If that's not what you want to do. If you want to get a rental, buy it from wholesale. Don't think that you have to start from the bottom and like cold call and pull these lists and like get on the phone. You don't have to do that. Just jump into it. Just do it. That's it.
Real quick, the one thing I'll say is to kind of touch on reiterate what Sabrina was talking about, not accepting your first offer. No matter what it is, it can be from construction and contractors or what have you. But the one thing that I learned on my first deal that I mentioned earlier, I made 45 grand on. The guy that I assigned that to, that guy ended up reassigning it again to someone else, and he made an additional 70 grand. But that guy took me under his wing and he showed me the game. I wholesaled it to him, and he wholesaled it to someone else right in front of me, and I didn't even know what was going on. Just never accept that first offer, because you never know what lies behind door number 2 or 3.
Thank you. Okay. Real quick before we take questions, guys, I wanted to add, if you all listened to Pace earlier today, you need to do some research on what your avatar is. You might think it's fix and flip, you might think it's wholesaling, you might think it's buy and hold, but until you really understand what you're passionate about and what it means by doing your research, then you can be all over the place. And trust me, I've been there. Because I didn't do my research and I didn't understand what my avatar was. So it's very critical that you learn that. And I will say, add one other thing. If you think you can do this business by yourself and get successful, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. You need to partner with people or get in a community. Everybody in Sub 2 that is here today, we would not be where we are without partnering with people in this community, whether they referred us to somebody else, gave us some advice, whatever the case may be, we had one another. And it will be very difficult for you to scale or be successful alone. Somebody had their hand raised questions. I love it. And I do have, before I do that, I had one other question. I want you to go first, and then we'll take you guys' questions.
Awesome. Okay. My name's Nate Webb, also a unicorn agent based out of Richmond. So if you have fix and flips in Richmond, I'll listen for you. 2%. Hey Chris, hey, how y'all doing? Quick question. So I work the disposition side of my wholesale business. So for my newer wholesalers, say they locked up a contract for the first time, or you locked up a contract in a new market, what are different ways you dispo that deal?
Just like the deal we were just working last week.
Yeah.
Make sure you have all of the information up front. Pictures. Manny's one of the wholesalers that I work with. One of my strategies is if you can't get have pictures. I locked up what we thought was a phenomenal deal. We were making like 15 on it, and it was still only at like a 9% entry fee. Found the buyer goes through. They're looking between the $30,000 and $40,000 renovations. We had been told and budgeted for $2,500. So really just boils down to make sure we have more information, know what better comps are, know what better condition is before you try to find that buyer. Because as we found out, it was just, it blew up in our face.
Yep.
We tried to go back and renegotiate with the seller. He wasn't having it at the time, but in another couple of weeks, we would probably get it.
Thank you.
So one of the things I would do is really focus in on rehabs that have occurred in and around that subject property. One of the most impressive things for me as a rehabber is when a wholesaler calls me and says, hey, I know you just did XYZ project on ABC Street. And I know they've done their research because all of my properties are housed in LLCs. So they've researched that LLC, they've researched the neighborhood first and foremost and found out who's active. Then they've skip traced the LLC to get to me. So when they come to me and they say, hey, would you be a potential buyer for this deal? I'm blown away. I'm saying, okay, this person knows what they're doing. The reflex response, typically, to your question is, go ahead and blast it out to a bunch of people. These real estate investors or potential real estate investors. It took me a while to get around this learning curve, but your buyer's list is not about quantity, it's about quality. That's an ego check, and then I figured out over time that it's better to have a relationship with 4 or 5 people that are consistently buying, that are credible. Because like you just said, everybody wants to buy a deal, right? And some people at face value are able to convince you and put up that $5,000 or $10,000 fee and get your deal tied up. But if on the back end they can't deliver, what was it all worth? Right? So just having someone that's credible, strong, that's consistently buying deals, and preferably those that have closed deals, is the best way to approach it.
I'm gonna add to that one just because I have the perfect solution. We have in our community, our Explica en Español, we have a forum where every Wednesday, and this is maybe one of the reasons my students get to their success so fast, because we have we meet on Zoom every Wednesday just to evaluate deals. So wholesalers bring their deals, agents bring their deals, because we have buyers in that area, and it's all over the US, right? Looking for deals. And if you bring the photos, the videos you already went through, you have the number, then why not? You have a community there looking for deals. So
It's a community. We only have 2 more minutes, so who else had a question?
Flip en español. Flip en español.
Oh, flip en
Yeah, that's it.
Just a quick question. Since, as was mentioned, that a big part of this business is partnerships, right? My question has to do with vetting the partners. Just personally myself, right? I find myself in a position where I have this very strong background in just specific real estate, shameless plug, real estate accounting, right? I've been specializing in construction and property accounting for many, many, many years. Now I just got to the point where I'm thinking about expanding, opening a property management side. So I have this very strong side of knowing the accounting side of the whole cycle. And I am looking for all the good property managers out there too, shameless plug. I need a really good property manager who can, take the operation side. So I was just hoping you could share your vetting process with your partners, potential partners. Like with locations, it's easy, right? You can go and Google it. Like there's matrix you can follow. With human being, what matrix you guys use to vet them?
I think that's a great question. I think it's important to find someone that's your counterpart, the yin to your yang, right? Everyone knows their strength. One person's strength might be construction, another person's strength might be accounting, another person might be a networker or have organizational skills. So it's complements your, well, not necessarily complements your strengths, but is the balance to your strength, okay? Because a partnership is different from joint venture. A partnership is long term, right? So when you look for someone you can do business with long term, you really have to vet that person and make sure they're a good fit. Number one is their personality, a personality you can deal with, right? Because you can be doing business with this person for a long time. So if you guys can't get along, it's not gonna last, right? So understanding your strength and then really finding that person that has a complementary strength, right, is very important for me.
Great question. So roughly 2 months ago, I just brought somebody on to basically be my field manager, basically dealing with tenants, dealing with owners. Just the general questions and stuff. I was friends with some to the community. Everybody know Rachel? Rachel Kane? Yeah. She's awesome. Super lucky to have her. But I was friends with her for about a year. Followed her success as an investor herself. Followed kind of what she was doing. Nothing crazy, just kept an eye, because she's a friend. I put a message up, hey, I'm looking for a field manager. She was the second person to respond. I interviewed everybody multiple times. Slow and steady is kind of how the process I took. It worked out really well, and it has probably alleviated 5 to 10 hours a week of just my brain power time, and it's amazing. So a lot of it for me is just gut, and your gut's always going to tell you the answer. You may not want to listen to it, but it's always going to tell you the answer.
I can say I recommend Rocket Fuel. Recommend that book to you and take that test where they can tell you whether the person is an integrator or a visionary, and take it from there. Like I said, I made a bunch of mistakes, y'all. So if the person, just because you guys vibe and you like each other and you're into the same thing and it's like you're both motivated, that doesn't mean that's your partner. You have to get in a room with people where you feel awkward, where you feel uncomfortable, and your partner is probably in that room. So for me, I'm a visionary. I want to be that. Like, I love everybody, you know. And an integrator is like, they see your plan, they see your vision, and they're going to create steps for you to take to get there. So, systems. And I want to recommend somebody you should talk to. Tech Chain in the back, and then great shirt up there. He's an amazing operator in property management. Spend some time with him.
And I'll just answer the question really quick about the question that you may be asking yourself 6 months after finding that person. I'm never doing that again. Because you're going to fail. You know, no matter what you do, everyone's not going to be a perfect fit. You're going to run into differences between the two of you. Don't let that discourage you to the point where you say, I'm never doing that again. You might tell yourself that at the onset, but you just keep trying. Just because it didn't work the first or second or third or fourth time, doesn't mean it won't work for you the next time. So just don't be discouraged, don't get you down on yourself, and just keep plugging away at it.
Excellent advice, panel. We have to fail forward. Somebody may look great on paper, black and white, and they're awful. So, I mean, you just have to take a chance and do the best due diligence and vetting out that you possibly can. And if you don't make the right decision the first time, we'll get it right the second, third, and fourth time. And that's what it's about. Pace tells us all the time, like even in this industry, it's very high turnover. And we used to be like afraid of this person quit or they left. You can't. It happens. It's part of the business. But what are you going to do next? That's what matters. We can take a couple more questions.
I just want
So I have an attorney, we have an attorney. Like don't go short on really hiring the right person and ask in your community who's the right person for whatever it is, the contracts that you're looking for. That's on the, we have attorneys that cover us. But I wanted to cover this as well because I love this, because we do teach our students once again, and we do it all the time, partnerships. A partnership, the way we see it, is a marriage. You're marrying a person. We don't go around marrying everybody. Just take it down.
Some people do.
So it just listen to that gut feeling that he says, and take a lot of coffees, a lot of go on a lot of dates before you decide to marry.
To your question, I think, one basic step is just making sure you operate in an entity and never, ever, ever buy any of these properties in your personal name, right? And to take a step further, each individual property can be bought in a separate entity. That's usually in what they call a series LLC, right? So that if someone decides to sue you for some odd reason, they can only sue you for that one particular deal. Maybe it's a contractor or whatever the case might be. You want to make sure that you separate your assets. Land trusts are also good for hiding assets, right? So different ways you can protect yourself there. And then basic things like making sure you got insurance, builder's risk policies, right? If a contractor were to fall, in one of your projects, you want to make sure that you have a proper coverage to make sure that they don't come after you and take everything you got. So little basic things like that, like she said, making sure that you have an attorney. And she said, don't go cheap. Make sure you get a good, knowledgeable attorney that specializes in your particular area. Okay, that you want them to cover you or advise you about. So just making sure that you have those areas covered. And then also what you do as an accountant is very important, because making sure the numbers are clear. Oftentimes we fall in love with the deal and the process and all of the highs and lows and everything. At the end of the day, it's about that bottom line.
Yes.
Right? And I'm in the midst of a deal right now where I'm meeting with my JV partners and we're crunching all of the numbers. And like clockwork, there's always that point where people have a tendency to get confused and the lines are blurred as to, and we keep everything on a spreadsheet. But just simply going back and remembering what those expenses are, what they were allotted for, is double counting, the numbers clear. Very, very, very important. So your avatar, and I don't know if that's qualified as avatar, but your specialty, your field, is very important.
Okay, I've gotten the signal, guys. This is so awesome, but sorry,
My name is Gustavo Salinas, and for all the people that are starting out, right, there's a lot of things that we need to be on the lookout for, right? So there's a lot of analysis, a lot of things that we need to learn. So how do you get over the analysis paralysis, right? Because there's so many things that we could be afraid of. I don't want to make a mistake, but you want to get through and take action. How do you get over that first step?
Real quick, Chris.
Just do it.
Thank you. Jordan, the only way you're going to ever take that first step is to take that first step. You may fall flat on your face.
You will.
Take action.
You
will.
We've done it. You're going.
Everybody, let's give our panel a round of applause. Make sure that you network with the people in the room that can help you, especially the folks that are new. Thanks again for your time, everyone.
So any more questions about lead generation? I saw your hand was going.
Yeah, I was listening to everything, but I guess for the pro-rate listing or leads, PropStream, you mentioned is that where a platform that I can use to find this? Okay. That $100 is gonna be worth it.
It's one of people look at like newspaper articles, news pads. It's so many different ways. You should. Here's the thing: if you're gonna pick a niche, you need to get some form of education in it. You need to get into
happen to connect there? Let's connect.
Yes. Want to connect with all of you guys.
Figuring out how we can deploy that capital. Literally today, I had that conversation here. So it's exactly looks like this that we were having these conversations. I was on social media. Somebody hit me up and said they want to deploy capital, and I had the right deal. So we're actually I'm having that conversation with that international investor tomorrow. They're an asset management company internationally, so they deploy large amounts of capital. So we are trying to figure out how we can get them into a fund that we're setting up for development here in the DMV area. And so we are having that conversation tomorrow. So it's literally they're all around you. You just gotta like cat said, open your mouth and talk. Literally, that's all you gotta do.
Yeah, it is about networking. I used initially when I started, I would target real estate events, conferences. Now I target conferences that are not about real estate because I'm able to network with people that maybe be in the tech industry, lawyers, doctors, whatever the case may be, but they have no clue, some of them, on how they can invest in our deals. So to educate them, to have the conversation with them about the opportunity that we can provide, I was able to find a lot of investors just by going to conferences or events that was not real estate related. You would be surprised. But you also have to have the confidence and the posture to have the conversation again. Open your mouth. Do people know what you're doing? So you have to have the conversation.
It's trying to bog it down, but how you wake up, your morning routine, what you say to yourself before you go to bed, when you're looking in the mirror, you say, damn, I look good today. Or are you like, oh my God, I gotta fix these bags under my eyes. Does anybody in here have a vision board? Okay, it's pretty like in depth, like you framed it, you cut out a little collage, write down stuff on it.
I'm adding those boots
Definitely add those boots. So on your vision board, well actually, same question, it's tandem to that. Everybody, if you own your own business, raise your hand. So does your business have a vision board? Do you write down a vision board for your business? A friend, I heard him on a podcast, he was talking about the vivid vision, the idea of writing down, in 2029, this is what I want my life to look like. And what he did, what was so unique, was he wrote down this newspaper article, and it was artificial. He looked at his vision board, he looked at his life, his work-life balance, and his family, and everything that he had, and he wrote this article 5 years in the future. And he paid a graphic designer, paid like $50 to get this newspaper article written about his personal life, his family life. It said, these guys have done all this, blah, blah, blah. And he put it right there in front of his office, or in front of his desk in his office, and he put it throughout his office so his employees and coworkers would see it as well. Well, they hit all of those crazy milestones within 36 months. And I think that everyone in here who owns a business, or maybe if you have kids, or both, you're putting in like 80 hours a week, right? And when you have that future plan, that vision of like, this is what is going to happen, it makes all the grind, the sleepless nights, the 4 a.m. mornings where you can't stop thinking, you just say, it's time to grind, I'm going, I'm going. But you look at that and you're like, but it's worth it. And that's how you hit your 36-month goals, right? I mean, and that's probably how you get a little bit of clarity to your mental health, because it's a lot, man. It's anxiety ridden. All of us to run a business, anything and everything could go wrong at any minute. But when you have that end goal staring you in the face, you have nothing, like no other choice. You have to get there whatever it takes, right? What would you say is your 36-month? What is your 5-year, 36-month goal? Where are you trying to go?
My 36-month goal would be to clean up everything that we started in the past, and there's a lot of stuff, and then take the new company that we're working on and have it as a brand, a sustainable lifestyle brand of health, wellness, and development. It's known at least in the Southeast.
Yeah, yeah.
Preferably nationwide, but at least in the Southeast.
Well, we're going to Montana.
Yeah, we're going to Montana. So.
Yeah.
We'll let others know.
Gotcha. So in tiny home resorts, which is a space that we've kind of niched down into, you build out this. You've seen RV parks, right? Anybody in here have an RV? 2, 3. Okay. Anybody in here want an Airstream or an RV, or a tiny home that you can put on wheels and drag behind your truck? So there's RV parks, which are these gravel roads, and it's where you can go park your RV, go to the next one. But then there's an RV resort, and that's paved roads, that's reinforced cement pads. You're gonna get $1 million pool, right? You're gonna get pickleball, you're gonna get all the things you would expect at a resort. Now you know you can go buy these sites in several of these communities. What we're looking at is building some of these things so that I can have one in Montana. Who just hit the lights?
I swear.
Tag.
Might be motion sensor.
So what we plan to do is build one in Montana, build one in Florida, build one in the Carolinas, Texas, probably here in DC, an area so that you can take your RV or your Airstream and live that life where you just go from park to park to park or resort to resort to resort, and you expect that same level of consistency at each place. All the while tying in this idea of wealth, well-being, and health to where you can get what kinds of things you want to. What are we bringing to it?
The health and wellness, again, everything that we're doing are looking at behind the health and wellness part of development. We're actually putting all that into a development and niching down. So it's a place that you can go to recharge and feel spiritually.
Good job, guys. This speech was lights out.
Mic dropper.
And create a routine in life that you can follow. Jordan Peterson talks about the number one thing to keep your sanity in the world or in life and your daily functioning is coming up with a routine. And I truly believe that. In my last 14 months, as far as getting old habits and old demons behind me and coming up with a new way to be healthy and want to get up at 5:30 a.m. and want to go ahead and start reading my Bible and getting into work, planning the day, meditating. Meditation is one of the greatest tools that I've ever found. If you told me 14 months ago that meditation had anything to do with being successful in business, I would have told you you're crazy. Work harder and work more and do more. And
I believe you. You did tell me I was crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people did. They're trying to tell me to slow down, and I was like, there's only one way to be more successful, and that's speed up. Well, that's not correct. Like I said, don't do as I did. Do as I've found now, slowing down a little bit and meditating and creating a healthy routine at the start of your day, the lunch portion of your day, before you go to bed. Having the routine where you're thinking of everything and meditating on what you want to accomplish that day, and then at lunch, meditating or focusing on what you have left to do that day, and then taking the night before you go to bed and going back of what you did get accomplished and what you need to get accomplished. If you'll take those 3 times of your day and really plan out and look at what you've done and where you want to go, life gets a lot easier. Speeding up and going as fast as you can it sounds great. You think you're doing great, but you will burn out. I thought that I would be a person that could never burn out. I had ADHD way too bad to want to slow down or stop, but it does. And that's everybody. If you don't take time for yourself and self-reflection and where you're going to go or want to go, you're not going to make it.
So if I can get back to we're saving questions for a little bit. Sorry, we'll come back to it. But in these resorts that we're doing, we're going to do things like cold plunges, right? We're going to have an on-site massage therapist. We're going to have everything that you can come and basically leave your phone in a box and truly unplug from the world, from all the external for 2 or 3 days, or 2 or 3 weeks. You know, there's going to be a lot of people that want to come in and truly retreat.
And the biggest thing is going to teach, for me, everything you do in your life, do with intention, even down to eating. If you just eat to eat, it's not healthy and it's not the way your body is. It's not God's design for how you're meant to function. Yes, you can go out and splurge and eat McDonald's. I don't want to eat McDonald's. Jay Shaw would eat as many times as he can, but do everything with intention. From waking up in the morning, have an intention of what you're going to get done that day. Where are you going in your business life, in your family life, in your personal life? Set those intentions early. Have intention for when you're going to eat. Set the times. Sit down at a dinner table instead of running as fast as you can around. Again, that was the hardest thing for me, is slowing down to be able to accomplish more. And setting intentions for everything that I do during the day. Because just by setting the intentions, like I said, just the intentions of what I'm gonna eat, and when I'm gonna eat it. That gives me a time frame of knowing that's whenever I'm gonna do it. I'll put my phone down, we're gonna have family dinner, I'm gonna talk to my kids, I'm gonna talk to my wife, I'm gonna see what they got accomplished that day, and I'm gonna tell them what I got accomplished that day. Just those small things will actually benefit you more in your business life.
Yeah. Now we talked a lot about, well, well-being and health. We should probably talk a little bit about land flipping,
Yeah,
right? I mean, that's how we connected, right?
Yeah.
So, to give you guys background, I'm a professional photographer, videographer, and I met Ben by selling some of his land. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but let's talk about Brightwater. Anybody here local? Do you guys know about Smith Mountain Lake? Anybody? Smith Mountain Lake? It's a very popular, beautiful lake here in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Are we in Virginia?
Okay,
so it's in Roanoke, and what you guys did, Brightwater is 80 lot development, right? How many acres is that? About 200 or so? So cut it up into 80 lots, put nice roads throughout, and really spend a lot of money on the tree work to cut in those views, and you got 80 different lots, right? Now, have any of you guys heard of a land sale? One person. Two. You guys might have seen these flyers in your mailbox or online ads. Guilty. That say, you know, it's something that sounds too good to be true. Like 10 acres on the water, you know, as low as $59.99. Guilty, you know. But we send out these flyers, right, to get a bunch of people to come to these land sales. And truly, you do have to discount a few properties. Let's say out of that 80 lots, you get like 200 or 300 that are, you know, or not 200 or 300, excuse me, 2 or 3 that are $100,000 below market value, right? And then you've got your leader lot, what's on the advertising, the one lot that we have available for $50,000. The other 79, they're just, you know, 20, 30% below market price. But it gets everybody to show up and kind of have this participation of, hey, when it's gone, it's gone. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard about this from like the development standpoint, but how many lots were there that were sold? 80, right? Out of 80?
So we generally sell what we come to sell today. So if we have 100 lots, we sell 100 lots. And it's not an auction, it's an actual, we set the prices, we don't look at offers. People always try to offer the phones, or somebody calls off 4 lots, and then we go into the 10, and then they start negotiating. We're like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
You call off the lot, that's your lot, you're taking it home with you that day.
So these truly are like wholesale prices. And Nick, he saw my video, and yeah, you can raise your hand, all right. And I knew the game. He came from sub 2, so I was like, all right, if someone's coming from sub 2, I actually have to get him a really good deal on a piece of land. And we worked for that piece of land. We were, I mean, you remember how hot and muggy that sale day was. We were running down Brightwater at the shore. We got him a waterfront lot down there for a really good price.
Yeah.
He might buy the next one too, because I know he doesn't get back. All right, we'll talk. But anyways, that's a completely mind-blowing way to do development. I've seen, what, like $20, $30 million generated in a day on these land sales. You get in the black pretty quick.
Yeah, that's the point. Now, again, there's different ways of doing it, but it's a way of, it costs more on the advertising and upfront end to get in the black quicker. So overall, you probably make the same amount of money dragging it out over time, but you are, basically, you want to spend your time doing it, or do you want to spend your money doing it? So that's the aspects that you have to look at. Do you have more money, or do you have more time?
And you get to fund the next leg. So
Yeah,
let's say we go in, we do the entrance, we do the roads, but we still got to build a pool. We promised everybody a pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we do the land sale, and that pushes us into phase 2. Well, when we go and we can actually fund the phase of development, then we can add more amenities, run another land sale. But these are like $1 million campaigns. So those pieces of mail that you see, those cost what, 78 cents to $1 to get into their mailbox?
Well, no,
We're sending 700,000 of them out.
we send 2 million, so you're looking at 40-something cents a piece is what you have, and then you have your social media marketing and your, radio blitzes and other forms of advertising that we do.
But that's how we move inventory.
That's how we move it.
That's a niche that it's not very much to talk about. Don't publish this. We've got to publish edited versions of it. Cut that out. But I wanted to bring light to that because not that many people really know about that, like how you can dispo of that many properties in 2 or 3 hours without actually working in that.
And what it basically comes down to is you're advertising to a much broader market, and you're hitting a lot more people at more money to sell it quicker.
Absolutely. And I mean, what a phenomenal exposure to land and everything. But for everybody in here, I mean, has anyone ever wanted a piece of land, acreage? Pace lives on 20 acres in Montana with an epic mountain view. Anybody want something like that? Yeah. So what are your first thoughts? When you go onto land.com or Zillow, you're like, these prices are crazy, and people are paying them. People are paying those prices for land right now. And one thing can make or break a piece of land. So if you don't know really what you're looking for, or how to shop it, I mean, does anybody really truly know how to underwrite land? I would say, actually, so pull out your phones. Anybody in here have Facebook? Everybody in here have Facebook? I have a group called the Land League, and we're going to release, Pace told me I have to release like a little bit of education for free. So I'm doing a 7-part series, and I'll give it to you. Just join the Land League. It's on Facebook. If y'all join that, we're going to drop all that. Probably, I mean, it's going to be 7 different videos, but it's only going to be for the people in that Facebook group. And we're talking about something that we call faster choices. It's an acronym. You got to look at things like floodplain, access. I mean, what else when you're underwriting land? Utilities.
Population demographics.
Yeah.
The topography of the land, how it lays. The biggest thing that can get you in trouble on buying land are freshwater crossings.
You can't change that.
You can't change it on land, and it's very expensive to cross it. So that's one thing you got to look at up front. To me, the number one thing I look up front is just because the first deal I ever did had one on it, it ended up costing me 10 years of my life going back and fixing it. Our railroad crossing, dealing with the railroad company. They are God, and they let you know they're God, and you don't cross the railroad unless they tell you you can cross the railroad track.
But I believe everyone in here should own land.
Oh, 100%. That's the one tangible asset that you can always go back to. You can't eat gold. You can't eat a stock. It's impossible. You can't live on a stock, and you can't live on gold. But if everything else, we all know what the economy is doing. We all know what this election means, and we all know kind of what Revelation says. And no matter what religion you're part of, it all kind of goes to the same point. There's going to be an end at some point. There's going to be hard times at some point. So land is the one thing you can always fall back on. And we try to keep land in different areas that we sell in, just in case something happens, we have a place to go to.
Absolutely.
And that's
not making any more of it.
No, and that's a cliche, but it's really true. They're not. Find a piece you like, and you can keep for yourself. That you have a plan. If something happens, I'm going to go back there. So.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys know you can get land for free? You can use the money in this room. How many of you guys are lenders? Short-term lenders. All right, so we got lenders in here. If I find 10 acres, let's say it's in Texas, I find 10 acres, and I have the opportunity to split it in half and let that other half pay for my 5-acre portion. So I can buy 10 acres, sell 5 of it, and keep the 5, and then I'm out of pocket 0. And you get paid as a lender. Would anyone fund that deal? Yeah. All day, right?
As long as it's not Houston.
Okay, we'll see. High and dry.
Houston, just stay away from that.
High and dry. So there are deals like that all the time. It's hard to find them, but once you kind of understand, you know, maybe I don't go on land.com. Maybe I don't go on Zillow. Maybe I run mailers. Maybe I buy a list or I get a list and I say, okay, how do I filter this out? I only want people who own this land for 20 years. So that shrinks that list. Now, out of that list, I only want people that live out of state. That shrinks that list. Now, out of that list, I only want people who have recently gotten a divorce. That shrinks that list very small. Now, out of that list, I only want people who have inherited property. That's a very small list. Most of these people that you call, or you hire people to cold call, like, I don't want that thing. I haven't stepped foot on that land in 20 years. And they're not looking at it the way that you have. You know, like I know that I could split this thing into 4 different tracts, and I could sell it and make a lot of money, or I could get my money's worth and I own free land. Does that sound like anything that anyone in here would want? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to stop talking because I will ramble.